Bam, man, what's good, man? It's your boy Tony, just right here on that hit show. The story's written by a current prisoner. Do me a favor, real quick, and hit that subscribe button. If you listen to prison interviews, it's your thing. Let's go ahead and waste no time whatsoever and jump right into this thing, man. Hit that like button for your boy, real quick, too, man. Show some support and show some love. Happy Friday.
No, sir. Go ahead and shine bright, my friend. Go ahead and do your thing.
Oh, all right, hey, this is Conejo coming at you. I know you guys haven't heard from me in a while because me and Tony had some things going on in his family and situations. Plus, I had some things going on too. But lucky we got back. We're getting back on the air and our YouTube channel podcast. And this Conejo, I'm gonna tell you a story about Emilio Tonito Lopez from Wilmas and his whole crew that he had in Wilmas. This is from 2000, maybe I'm gonna say 2002 to like 2007, 8, 9, 10, about there. With he had in his crew. He went back in the days when he had a crew. It was him and his carnal Dave Lopez. Roland, well, his roommate's Roland, but they call him his Nick Placaso was Dave. Dave Lopez. That was his sergeant of arms, his chief of control. Because you gotta remember, Tonito was in the shoe. So he had him. He had Goofy. Yeah, Goofy was one of his enforcers from Wilmas. Sheldon McMurran, his last name was something like McMurran or something like that. He had like a weird last name, Gavacho name or something like that. Well, that was one of his enforcers. And then he had David Sorono, Blackie. That was his crew chief. Well, that was a part of him and Dave were crew chiefs. And back then, well, they started enforcing the 15% tax for all drogas sold in this barrio and Wilmas, all the harbor area. So, a lot of money started coming in. They started bringing a lot of money in, and he ended up hooking up with Lisa Robles. Lisa Robles was Tonito's Jaina. She used to come to the Bay and go see him, and she would be all communication. She was actually like the secretary because the all communication was going through her because she's the only one that would come in and see Tonito and relay messages. So she was really, really important to pass communication to his brother Dave, and Dave would pass communication to Goofy, Blackie, and all them, Flaco, and all them. Well, after a while, they started collecting a lot of money, but a lot of these vatos didn't know that Tonito fucked up. Tonito messed up a long time ago. That's why he was single cell up there in the Bay, because a lot of carnales from the M were trying to move in with him because they already had the approval to kill him, take him out. Because Topo from the Godfather, Topo, he already had the okay. He was giving carnales the okay to move in with Tonito to take him out because he was doing some foul shit. So, but nobody could go in with him because they had him down as so single cell status, but he wasn't. What it was is the administration was taking care of him, I think. I'm not for sure. I don't know. But maybe he was, or maybe he told the administration, I got issues. But long story short, he created his own group because even though you're still a carnal, and even though you're still a carnal, they didn't disregard him because they didn't want to warn him ahead of time because they were trying to take him out. That's why when he first came out the shoe, when everybody got kicked out the shoe from the Bay, that was one of the first orders that they had, is once everybody's out, we'll take him out. But they didn't enforce that until after, like a year after everybody was getting kicked out of the shoe. They were getting kicked out of Corcoran shoe, Pelican Bay shoe. They were getting kicked out to the main lines because of the step-down program came through. Well, a lot of the carnales were shooting word up to Topo and Chato, Carnal Chato and all that. What's up with this fool? He's up here in Calipatria and all that. And they're like, hold on, let's wait till all the carnales get kicked out, because if we get out and get to the yardas, the main line, and we start taking more fools out that got it coming from back in the days, then they're just going to lock us all back up. They're going to lock up all the Mexican mafia back up. So what they did is they put it on hold. Well, while this was all going on, Tonito already had a crew out in the calles taxing all gente in his area, from Wilmas, the harbor area, Long Beach, and all that. Well, one of the main dudes that he had at that time también, that was working for Dave, was Tiny. Tiny, his last name William Knights. Well, Tiny he got out there because he did a little few, like maybe 2 years up there with Tonito in the Bay, and he met him too up there personally. So he had a pretty good say. So when he got out there, so when you get out there, hook up with my brother. My brother's gonna put you working. So Tiny started doing good. He started collecting renta and all that out there in the calles. He had a pretty good palabra. But after a while, Tiny got prendido. He started using heroin, and he got prendido. And he started getting strung out. He started dipping into the profit of the inmate tax collection money. So when he got into it, he started taking like half. Maybe they'll call him, and let's say Dave would call him, or Lisa would call him and tell him, hey, what's up with the money you collected over here from so-and-so and so-and-so over here in this barrio? And he's like, oh, they only gave me half. They're going to give me the rest of the money later on, which was all bullshit. They paid him in full. But what it was is he was dipping into the money, and he was using it. He was going and buying dope and slamming it. So
this call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
So Tiny, in all reality, was putting other vatos in wrong. Other vatos that were paying him, other camaradas that were paying him in full for their taxes, they were paying the MA in full, but Tiny was popping in and making it look like they owed money. And this went on for like a few years until finally it came back on him, and really Tonito did not want to approve to take him out, because he couldn't see that Tiny was stealing from him until they actually set him up. What they did is they used one of the homies, Flaco, from Wilmington. They told him, look, give him some money. Let us know how much money you're going to give him for the taxes of the month for the admin, and we'll see if he keeps it. And that's exactly what he did. They actually gave him the money. He went and gave like maybe, I say $200, and he said that, hey, Flaco still owes another $1,500. He said he's gonna pay it next month, which was all bullshit. They were just set up. So when he actually went and gave the money to Lisa reported and said, hey, this fool's taking the money. So that's when she said, okay, Tonito's carnal, Dave told her, when you go up there and visit Tonito, let him know what's going on. Tell him to give us a yes or a no to what do we do with him. So Lisa goes up there and visits him, and when she comes back, she tells him, hey, he said take him out. So Goofy, at that time, was trying to come up in the rankings. Goofy, at that time, was trying to do everything he can to try and become a carnal in the MA. So, when you're in that position, and you're trying to prove yourself to all the MA that you want to be an MA member, then they put him to the test. They say, look, this dude needs to get taken care of. Take him out. Well, Tiny says, yeah. Goofy said, yeah. Well, yeah, he sets him up, takes him to somewhere, and boom, takes him out. Boom, like in 2000, I think it was like 10 or somewhere around, ends up taking him out. Boom. Later on, they come and he comes around. Blackie and them. Blackie comes around and they hear it in the phone. And he gets all scared, so they break the phone. He breaks the phone and everything because they think they can trace the phone call. Because in the phone call, Goofy's calling him. Blackie tells him, hey, did you take care of that? And he goes, yeah, that fool's gone. Tiny's gone. Well, he mentioned that name. He said, no, don't say it. Well, he breaks the phone and everything. And, yeah, they end up taking him out. Well, at that time, two of the homies that Tiny was collecting renta from were in the county jail. And what this fool Tiny was doing was he was sending word into the county, to the soldados in the county of Tonitos, and telling them, look, so-and-so owes money, James Ariano owes money, little Danger, he owes money, little Wacko owes money, because they didn't owe money, man. What they were doing, this dude was keeping money, he was crossing them up, and then them two fools ended up getting stabbed in the county jail real bad in LA County Gasho, when they weren't even supposed to get stabbed because they paid in full, because Tiny's ass was pocketing the money of the tax money and go using it in dope. And that right there was bringing a bad name on Tonito, because other carnales from other neighborhoods were already, other soldados were already reporting to them, telling, man, you know what, I'm sending feria with this vato, Tiny, for Tonito, and I know that's the money for the inmate, but this fool's lying, saying that we ain't paying him, and he's making up stories that hit two of the homies because his fault. So a lot of the brothers already, the carnales in the inmate, they already had Tonito on a short leash. So, yeah, as soon as Tonito got to Calapan, and he was there maybe like a year, that's when Topo, Chato, all them made tablas and all the carnales from tablas, all of them, they got together and they shot word, they take him out. and they ended up killing Carnal Tonito over there in Calipet over all this shit that was happening, and really it was behind Tiny that made him. Yeah, he had some issues, but I don't think they were going to take him out at the time. Back in the days when we were in Folsom, in Pelican Bay, I think he could have cleaned that up. It was just that at that time it was just a little power struggle that was happening when Tupi was trying to create the new inmate, and Tonito went on Tupi died. And there was a couple carnales like that were on backgrounds over that, and Topo's crew was against that. So that's what made Tonito look bad. War was behind all this collective renta for the inmate, and this dude Tiny keeping it. His name was William.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
What's gacho about is all those camaradas end up getting crossed up over one dude. And the reason I tell you this story is because all you people out there that hear me all the time on the phone and talk, I share these stories with you because you got to remember when you're in this game and you're living the life of it's called politics. You got to be on your toes, because even though you might be dealing in the street and you're paying taxes or whatever, and you're making money dealing or whatever, even in the system, in the system you're dealing in here and you're paying your monthly tax or your weekly taxes, but that money is not reaching from point A to point B, and it's your ass, because that person might have more juice than you and cross you up. Next thing you know, you got a green light on you because you didn't do your homework. You didn't follow through and make sure that the money you were giving that person ended up getting to the right hands, to the right carnal, and wherever his money, he was sending his money to. And that's your responsibility. And the reason I tell you that, because there's a lot of camaradas that end up getting crossed up for that. And that's not worth it, man. Because I'm not trying to encourage you and telling you like, hey, get in this game and everything and start living your life like that, because me, I'm against all that. If anything, I want you to walk the right path. But at the same time, I'm sharing this with you because a lot of people, they don't understand that. And they don't know the way the game is. You gotta remember, in politics, it's like real politics in the street. It's a dirty dog. It's a dog-eat-dog world. In politics, if you're scratching the right politician's back and he's scratching your back, well, he's always going to have your back, but you gotta do your homework too. And that's the same way in the prison system. In the prison system, you got to do your homework to who is doing what. If you're dealing and you're making sure that you're paying your weekly tax to deal drugs in prison or in the street, you better make sure to find out some way or another to give word to him, to that person, that carnal that you're working under, and they're paying your taxes to. Make sure that money is reaching him, because if he says, "Nah, your money ain't reaching me," then all that money's doing is going to somebody's pocket, and they're going to use you in the long run and use you like a pawn, like a chess game, and just throw you to the dogs and get stepped on. Get probably stabbed or killed for some reason that you didn't even do your homework. When you figure like this, I didn't have time to. I don't have time to look into that because I'm dealing so much. You're making so much money, but it doesn't work that way, because when you're dealing that big, you got to remember, you got to always have your 2 feet on the ground and understand all your surroundings all the time, because there's always somebody going to get and try and dip into your bag. You know what I mean?
You have 60 seconds remaining.
I say your bag, I mean your whole crew, what you got, because if you let them, then you're going to get crossed up. Hey, Tony, I'm going to call you back. Okay, this is Conejo coming at you. I'm picking up where I left off. And like I was telling you, Tonito at that time, he was in bad grounds with a few carnales, but he could have cleaned it up. And he was in Calipan at that time. He was trying to clean it up because he knew what he had coming, but at the same time, he was surrounding himself around good people. But at that time, Goofy, he did that. He took care of Tiny for Tonito, and taking out Tiny, killing him, and he try and show everybody that he's taking care of his ends. But Goofy's the one who messed up, because Goofy was over there calling and talking to Blackie and Flaco and Michael Franco, which is boxer from Wilmington, and they didn't know Goofy's dumbass. He didn't know Because you got to remember, Tonito had a cell phone over in Kettleton. He's talking to all these fools when he was in Calipatia. Well, he don't know that Box already flipped Michael Franco, not Boxer Martinez. This is Michael Franco. Well, he already flipped, and he was already testifying for the grand jury. He was already telling the story of what's going on, because Tonito didn't know that they already had an investigation going on since 2002, and the investigation, they'll go for a while where they were investigating. Well, Franco's the one who's telling the SSU everything that's going on, how many people that were taxing, how Tonito had the whole harbor area, Wilmington, all that from 2002 to 2007, collecting tough. At that time, Michael Franco had the whole area for him, working for Tonito, and then that's when Blackie got out and William Knight got out, so they took over because Franco got busted. He's in the county jail, so they always need someone in the street. So this is when Tiny moves into the territory, but they didn't know that at that time when Franco came and got busted Boxer, he already made a deal with them. They told him, look, we're going to let you sit in the county jail for a couple of months, and then we're going to cut you loose, but we want to know everything because we're going to indict Tonito. And he's like, yeah. Well, he's the one that ends up, and Goofy's dumbass thinks he can trust him, and he's talking to him on the phone, telling him everything, how he took out Tiny and all this shit, the way he was collecting money, and that fool started keeping and telling the whole story, and they don't even know that they were recording everything. And his dumbass was telling him. So when they went over there and they ended up moving on Tonito and Calapat and ended up killing them, that's when they shut down the investigation. They charged all of them, because I don't think it would have got to that point to where they would have killed them if they would have shut down the investigation before that. But because they didn't, and it was making Tonito look bad, because you got to remember, a lot of these fools got cell phones in the system, and they're calling from the system to out in the calles, and they're reaching their hand out to the calles, giving them orders to do this, do that. You know what I mean? Well, a lot of times those phones, they're tapped already. They're listening to them. As a matter of fact, this is one of the reasons I do not use those phones. When guys tell me you want to use one, and I'm like, nah, I'm cool, because a lot of times these CEOs, what they do is they'll give somebody a phone, and they'll give it to them, and they'll tell them, go ahead and use it, and give at the end of time, in about a month, I want that phone to end up coming to Conejo's hands, and they set it up that way. They set it up that way because they need him to have that so they can be recording everything he's talking about, and that's the way. That's why I don't use those things. Never. Because it's too easy to say something in there. You get twisted up. So that's why that whole situation they indicted all them dudes because of Michael Franco giving up the drawings since 2002. Pobrecito Tonito, que he was my camarada. Emilio Lopez, he was my camarada. We were up in the bay together. He was my vecino one time. I was actually going to move in with him, and that was my vecino. And I should have moved in with him, but he was going to move in with me, and pobrecito, that they ended up killing him because they killed him, and man, it wasn't really even his fault. They killed him because other dudes crossed him up when he was doing the right thing. And the reason I share with you the story is because, man, I hate for any one of you vatos to go through this. And I've seen this the way it goes down like that, where you end up hooking up with some carnal and you think you're doing right. All you're his right-hand man or secretary or screw chief, and you end up getting crossed up because why? Because, like they say, if you're around him, then you end up getting smashed too. Because he did wrong, you did wrong too. And it's a dog-eat-dog world, bro. That's why I share these stories with you, because it's not worth it. I'm in here for life, bro. I've been in here for a long time, and I see it all the time. I see camaradas coming over here, and I talk to him. I say, what happened? He's like, man, they got twisted up, fool, because this fool wasn't he was collecting money, but he wasn't sending it into the carnal, and he was just using it. He got strung out in the yard. He started slamming, using, and he ended up using all the dope we were giving him, all the money he was giving. It wasn't ended up going to the carnal. And I said, well, what happened? You used my name. He said that I'm the one that was making sure that I get the money and make sure it goes to the secretary in the street. When I never even had her number. And I'm like, yeah, that's the way it is in dog-eat-dog world. People use you like a pawn in a chess game. If you're good at chess, then you can play the politic game good. Because then you gotta remember when you play chess to be a winner, you gotta think 3 moves ahead of time before you even move a move, before you even move a piece. And that's the same way. Like when you're in the inmate game or the Nuestra Familia game or the BGF game, whatever game you're into politics. I'm not into politics. Hey, Tony, I gotta go.